Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to Grandma Lily English. Here, we don't just learn English, we experience it through stories, through conversations, and through moments that stay with us long after the lesson is over. If you'd like to improve your English in a calm, natural, and meaningful way, you're in the right place. Now, make yourself comfortable and let's begin. Before tonight's story, here's one small listening tip. Don't stop the story every time you hear a new word. Keep listening. Very often, the next sentence helps you understand the one before. Trust the story. It will guide you more than you think.
So, I don't have to understand everything immediately?
Exactly. Understanding often arrives one sentence later. Just keep listening.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy you're spending another evening with us. I hope today gave you at least one reason to smile.
Noah, may I ask you something?
Of course.
Have you ever stopped trying because you believed you weren't good enough?
Yes. Sometimes I compare myself with other people. They seem so much better than I am. Then I wonder, maybe I'll never be that good. And I quietly give up.
Do you know, I felt exactly the same when I was your age.
Really? You did?
Oh, yes, more than once. And one summer afternoon, something happened that completely changed the way I looked at myself.
What happened?
I was about 15. Every afternoon, I walked home through a quiet little street. At the end of that street, there was a tiny violin workshop. Whenever I passed by, beautiful music drifted out through its open window. One day, I couldn't resist my curiosity. I gently opened the old wooden door and stepped inside. I thought I was simply visiting a violin maker. I had no idea that I was about to learn one of the greatest lessons of my life. Come a little closer, my dear. I'd like to take you back to that afternoon. Our story begins inside that little workshop. It is called The Violin That Had One Broken String. I still remember the smell of old wood and fresh varnish. Golden sunlight fell across the wooden floor. Every shelf was filled with violins in different sizes. Some were new. Some had been waiting to be repaired. It was quiet, peaceful, until someone opened the door. A teenage girl walked inside. She was holding an old violin very carefully. I remember how worried she looked. Her name was Emma. She walked slowly toward the old man. He looked up from his work, smiled kindly, and said, "Good afternoon." Emma placed the violin on his workbench. Then she whispered, "I don't think it can ever make beautiful music again." I looked at the violin. One of its strings had snapped. Its wood was covered with scratches. It looked old and forgotten. Mr. Antonio picked it up very gently. He examined it for a few moments. Then he smiled.
Did he repair it right away?
No, he asked Emma a question. "I have never forgotten," Mr. Antonio said. Who told you this violin could never play again? Emma looked down. No one. I just thought it wasn't good enough anymore. I remember how quiet the room became. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, Mr. Antonio picked up his bow. Without saying another word, he began to play. Not with 4 strings, only 3. The melody was soft, warm, beautiful. I had never heard anything quite like it. When the music ended, Emma's eyes were full of surprise. So, how did you do that? She asked. Mr. Antonio smiled and answered, I didn't play with the string I had lost. I played with the ones I still had.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was I. And then Mr. Antonio said something that has stayed with me ever since. He placed the violin back into Emma's hands and said, A broken string doesn't end the music. And remember, this is true for people too. We all lose something at some point. Confidence, time, opportunities, even hope. But don't spend your whole life staring at what you've lost. Use what you still have. Emma smiled, for the first time since she had arrived. Not because the violin had become perfect, but because she finally understood that beautiful music doesn't require a perfect instrument, only a willing heart.
Grandma, did you ever forget that day?
No, never. I walked home that afternoon holding those words in my heart. For many years, whenever I felt I wasn't good enough, I remembered Mr. Antonio and his violin. Little by little, I realized he wasn't really teaching Emma how to play music. He was teaching all of us how to live.
I think I understand what he meant.
Do you?
He didn't focus on what was broken. He focused on what was still there.
Exactly. And that's a lesson. Many people spend their whole lives trying to learn. Sometimes we look only at what we've lost, a mistake, a failure, a missed opportunity, something we wish had never happened. But life doesn't ask us to be perfect. Life simply asks us to keep moving, to keep learning, to keep using the gifts we still have.
I think I've been looking at my broken string for too long.
Maybe, but today you noticed it. And that's where every new beginning starts. Never let one weakness make you forget all the strengths you still carry. Before we say goodnight, let's open our window to tomorrow. The future will belong to people who never stop learning. Technology will continue to change. Jobs will continue to change. The world will continue to change. But one thing will always matter: the courage to begin again. No one knows everything, and no one starts as an expert. Every skill begins with a first attempt. Every success begins with someone who is willing to keep going. So, don't be afraid of imperfect beginnings. Sometimes, the most beautiful future starts with one brave step.
Grandma, I think I'm ready to take that first step.
That's all life has ever asked of any of us. Just one brave step at a time. Today I have a small challenge for you. Think about something you've been avoiding because you thought you weren't good enough. Then, take just one small step, not a giant step, just one. Write one sentence, practice for 5 minutes. Learn one new word or simply begin. Because beautiful journeys rarely begin with perfect confidence. They begin with courage.
I already know what my first step will be.
I'm proud of you, my dear. Dear friends, thank you for spending this evening with us. Remember, one broken string doesn't end the music, and one difficult moment doesn't end your story. Keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in the gifts you still have. because sometimes the most beautiful music comes from hearts that refuse to give up.
Before you go tell us in the comments, what is one dream you've been afraid to begin? Write just one sentence in English. We'll be waiting to read your answers. Good night, dear friends.
Until next time, take good care of yourselves. Take good care of the people you love. And never forget, you don't have to be perfect to create something beautiful. Good night, dear friends, and never let one broken string silence the music inside your heart. Take your time.